My name is Raquel Novoa. I'm the founder of 50 Shades Greener, and I'm originally from Spain. My young career up until 2017 was in hospitality. But to be honest, I fell into hospitality by pure chance. I was 17 years old when my father offered me a one-way ticket to wherever I wanted to go. And destiny has it that a week later I landed in Shannon, in the west coast of Ireland, of all places. My immediate family are all academics. My mother is a doctor. My father is a psychologist that turned into a politician, and my sister is a marine biologist. When my parents used to ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I literally had no idea. Two things I knew is that I wanted to be challenged by my career, but that I also wanted to have fun at my job every day. Needless to say, my father thought that I was crazy or lazy or a little mix of both. I've never been a person that learned through books or conventional educational methods. Back when I was young, I used to feel inferior and not good enough because I learned in a very different way as my family members. But I was blessed to fall into the hospitality industry because all of a sudden I found a place in the world where I could learn by doing. I could learn by watching other people doing their jobs. And it led me to have an amazing career with many managerial positions around the world. It wasn't until 2012 that I started learning about sustainability. Back then, climate change was not spoken about as often as it is now by the regular person like me. I used to think that carbon emissions and greenhouse gases were things that only scientists and governments would argue about. Unfortunately, I had experienced firsthand what nature can do to humanity. I was working in the Maldives in 2004 when a tsunami hit the Indian Ocean on the 26th of December, destroying so many lives in just a few minutes. From that day on, I suffered from eco-anxiety for over a decade. But of course, at the time, we didn't really speak about eco-anxiety, which makes you think you're going crazy, on top of feeling anxious. It wasn't a great combination throughout my 20s. My turning point was when I started working in Hotel Doolan, a boutique hotel in the west coast of Ireland. Today we have its managing director, Donald Minahan, there at the back. And in Hotel Doolan, I learned how to measure the hotel's carbon emissions. This is when I started thinking that if I could measure those emissions, I could also manage them. And most important, I could reduce them. It then became my life's mission to learn more about sustainability. And I started creating the 50-step program for hospitality, so I could teach other people how to measure, manage, and reduce their own environmental impact. Knowledge is empowering. My eco-anxiety started to get better because I finally felt there was something I could do about climate change, however small that contribution would be. In 2017, I finally took the plunge and I founded 50 Shades Greener. And my life mission became to teach other people what I had learned in my own green journey. I started my green journey by reducing three things, three resources that I'm sure every person in this room can manage a little better today. That is the energy and the water that we use and the waste that we produce. Think about it for a couple of minutes. I was blessed to be born in a country where these resources are readily available to me. I don't have to think about them. I can flick a switch, I can open a tap, and there they are. I definitely don't have to think about waste. I put mine in the bin outside every week and it disappears every week as if by a magic trick. All these commodities that we've been born with have made us become societies of resource overuse. And we have lost the correlation between our individual use of those resources and the environmental damage that we're causing. So let me show you a practical example, because we in hospitality love practical examples. Everybody has a Seamus or breakfast chef. He comes into work every morning around 5:30 and switches all of the equipment in the kitchen on. Even those pieces of equipment he might not use until later. When I asked Seamus why he was doing that, he says, but that's my routine. It's what I've done all my life as a chef. I switch everything on, ready for a busy day ahead. Quite honestly, I couldn't blame him. He'd never seen our energy bills, and nobody had ever told him to do anything different. But because I've been analyzing our equipment, I knew that the main oven in the kitchen used 38 kilowatt hours of electricity. I also knew that our electricity unit price was 15 cents. Those were the days that you could buy electricity at that price in Ireland, of course. So I calculated that if we were to switch off that oven for 1 hour a day, every single day, we could reduce our electricity by 14,000 kilowatts in 1 year, reducing nearly 5 tons of carbon emissions and generating savings of 2,000 euros. That's just one machine off for 1 hour a day, which may seem like a really small thing to do, but can generate really good results. And this was a light bulb moment, really, because I realized it wasn't the hotel that produced carbon emissions or used energy. It was our team, the team behind the hotel. Their everyday decisions had a profound effect in the company's carbon footprint. In order to truly integrate sustainability in an organization, everybody has a role to play. It is the ESG or the sustainability manager at the top of the pyramid that will develop the organization's strategy. This person would have measured the environmental and social impact of their company and develop improvement strategies. However, the implementation of those strategies becomes part of the jobs of managers and supervisors. If we think back at Seamus, the breakfast chef, it would be his manager, the head chef, that would measure the energy use of all equipment and determine the right standards of procedures to switch equipment on and off. But none of that is going to work unless we raise the awareness of everyone in the organization. This is our chef. He doesn't need to know how to measure energy, he doesn't need to convert that into carbon emissions, but he needs to understand and be very aware that his own actions have a profound effect on the company's energy use. And so the reality is that every job is a green job. A CEO needs to understand and support the organization's sustainability strategy as much as a bricklayer needs to understand how to maximize the materials used on site every day, avoiding unnecessary waste. Over the last 8 years, I have built a team of incredible people, people that really care about what they're doing. We've worked with governments. We've developed training programs at all levels of organizations, from the top down and from the bottom up. Something really important to me is that we use action-based learning. Because true sustainable development is not going to be achieved by rehearsing books or the theory or understanding the learning outcomes. It will be achieved when every person in society understands how they need to take action. Very recently, our hospitality program for certification has been approved by giants like Booking.com and Travelist. But our mission is actually really, really ambitious. We want to help upskill 8 billion people in the world, which of course we can do by ourselves. But despite all of the progress that has been made, we're still battling against the current. In 2024, France posed a 2-year delay on the EU anti-deforestation legislation. The EPA in Ireland are reporting that we're nowhere near meeting our climate targets for 2030. Only last year, the EU posed another 2-year delay for reporting of many companies under the CSRD. We continue to see climate change denying policies all over the world. But for those people in the room that don't care about policy and want to get some practical tips on how you can bring sustainability to your organization regardless what your job role is. So leaders, business owners, general managers, directors, CEOs, you guys, you need to set the vision. You need to embed sustainability as a core business strategy. But you also need to allocate time and resources for all of your head of departments. And something really important, you need to lead by example. You need to demonstrate that you care about the company's sustainability future. If you can see a recurring theme here, is that leaders make sustainability important. That's all you have to do. Managers and supervisors, you guys set the systems. You need to embed sustainability into the decision-making process of your own departments. You need to build accountability and incentives to all your team members. And you need to, of course, communicate and train your teams. People can't change unless they're told how, what it is that they need to do that is new and different for them. So you guys make sustainability possible by setting these systems. And then every employee You're in the front lines. You make sustainability real every single day. You can adopt sustainable behaviors at work, like our chef Seamus became energy efficient. You can also participate in company initiatives, form a green team or a sub-team of the green team, get involved. And lastly, be an advocate for sustainability. Speak to other people about it and even your clients. You guys make it happen. Make it important, make it possible, make it happen. It really is everyone's job. However, without the vision at the very top, the systems and the action become much more difficult to achieve. It is us, the business owners in this room, that have to step up to this challenge. And if we don't, it will be business as usual, which at the end of the day is quite easier, it's much easier than making changes. Remember the movie Avatar, the breathtaking world of Pandora, where nature was alive and sacred. We all cheer for the Na'vi clan, their connection to nature and their fierce protection of their home from those that came to invade it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Everyone here sitting at the tables, my team there sitting at the bar, definitely everyone at the back, myself, we're not the Na'vis. We are the invaders. We humans mine, drill, and deforest our own Pandora. We extract resources from the planet much faster than they can be replenished. The movie wasn't science fiction. It was actually a mirror. Sustainability is not a job and it's not a department. Sustainability is a mindset, like the Na'vi mindset. The decisions that we make in our boardrooms today will dictate how organizations are going to affect the natural world for the next decade. And those decisions are down to us, the business owners in this room. We all have a very clear choice to make. Do we want to be Na'vis, or do we want to be invaders? Thank you so much for coming here today.